Good morning, friends. Welcome to the Daily Grind podcast. My name is Nathan French, and I'll be your host. Today we are talking about having a purpose in life and how fitness and nutrition has given me a new purpose. To follow the entire journey, head over to facebook.com/thedailygrindif for all the daily videos. Let's get into it. Today I'm going to be getting a little bit philosophical, but stick with me. I'll make sure that it all ties in to the theme of the podcast, which is obesity, weight loss, and fitness. And my personal journey going through all of these different aspects, okay? So the theme of today is having a purpose in life, okay? And this can be a thing that changes in your life. And something that just evolves once you find that thing, whether it's religion, whether it's a career, whether it's a hobby, whether it's family, could be family, but everybody needs to have a purpose in their lives that keep them pushing forward and just keep fighting the good fight and having something to work towards, having goals and all that kind of stuff. So, I have had a problem that I have a hard time finding a purpose, okay? I have things like kind of the flash in the pan kind of stuff, but I wouldn't call it a purpose. It's a short-term obsessions are kind of what I've always had, whether it's a new business idea that I want to try or it's a new hobby that I want to try. And I have a tendency to go down the rabbit hole, dive headfirst into something. But the problem is I will lose interest within usually 6 months. And to me, having a purpose is something that lasts a lifetime, or at least longer than 6 months. That just, I don't know, these short-term obsessions I just don't think that's a real purpose. And that's something that I think we lack as a society right now, at least in the United States. We don't have a reason to do certain things that we've done since the beginning of time, right? So for a caveman, a sense of purpose would just be survival. They just want to survive. They just want to make it through the next day. So that's their sense of purpose. They could care less about how many likes they get on Instagram or how many shares they get on Facebook, how many views on YouTube. They could care less about that kind of thing, right? They weren't concerned about it. But our culture today, we just don't have that kind of thing. It's just not a drive that we have anymore, right? And I know I'm getting way off in the weeds already here, but stick with me. So one of the obsessions that I've had, I'd even call it an addiction, was to video games. For as long as I can remember, I've been the video game guy. From probably age 16 through age 30, currently even. And the ironic thing about that is, as a kid, I never had video game systems. It just wasn't something my parents wanted me to get into. So, I'd see them at friends' houses and play Mario and things like that. But I never had that until I was, almost high school age or the beginning of high school, where I actually was working and earned enough money to get into a system on my own. So I did that. And ever since I have been, I'm just going to say, I've been addicted. Okay. Especially the last, 5 or 6 years. On average, I would say I probably played 15 to 20 hours a week, and that's a lot for an adult. There's so many things that you could be doing, but at the time, I didn't think about that at all. And I have a theory. I wanted to live out these fantasies, live in the lives of these characters that I am controlling on a screen, because being obese, I felt like I was stuck. I was in my own personal prison, and I couldn't go have these adventures that I could experience with these characters. I have a really wild imagination, right? So I have no problem being a character, running around all over the place and doing whatever these characters are doing, following the storylines in the various games, whether I was a soldier or an adventurer or a poker player or, a mass murderer, whatever the case is in these games. One that I always gravitated to was sports games. So football, basketball, baseball, I love those kind of games. And, you can make your character and you can make it look exactly like yourself. These days, with the graphics they have and the technology that they're using now, you can get them pretty close. But of course, when I'd make the character, they may have the same color eyes, they may have the same color hair, they may be as tall as me, but I'm not going to make them 300 plus pounds. That would just be ridiculous. That was something I just didn't want to admit. It didn't fit in with the fantasy, okay? But it was a real thing. I just spent hours upon hours living out these fantasy lives. And I loved it. I loved everything about it. I would go to bed thinking about it. I'd wake up the next day and think about it. And maybe that's great for some people. But when you're married, you have a wife, you have a family, and you have other obligations to take care of, working on a career and, just being a provider. And one of the problems with video game addiction, or maybe it's an addiction to Netflix, TV, whatever the case is, I think it all kind of goes in the same basket. But that becomes your purpose. Your purpose in life is to experience these fantasies. And it's kind of sad to think about it. At the time, you don't think about this stuff at all. I knew everything about all the games that were already out. I knew everything about the games that were coming out. I'd see a game that was coming out 4 or 5 months from now, and I would obsess over it until the day it was released and play it and enjoy it. But what a terrible sense of purpose that is. But I honestly do chalk it up to not being able to go out and have my own adventures. I couldn't go on a hike. I couldn't go travel to a foreign place and experience things for myself. So I had to go through the lens of the video game and experience it that way. And I don't know, I was content with that for a very long time. And the interesting thing is, once I started exercising a couple months ago, I started playing less and less video games. And nothing changed as far as a career or anything like that. I still could have made the time. I don't believe in not having enough time for something. It's all about making time, whether it's waking up early or staying up late, whatever it is, moving things around in your schedule. There's always time. And I started getting up early and I started going to the gym and working out and going on walks and you know the story. But even with the time that I did have to play video games, I just haven't. I maybe play for an hour every Sunday, just as a leisure thing. And I'm also discovering that instead of following the latest video game news and all the exciting new games that are out and that are announced, so they're going to be coming out later, I don't know. I've even unsubscribed to a lot of the channels that I follow, whether it's videos on YouTube or just news websites for video games. I just don't have that interest at the moment. And I find that really fascinating, just how my mind is transitioning now. And it's literally the same time that I started exercising. And I don't attribute playing video games to laziness. I really don't. I think it's great. There's a lot of people that are in fantastic shape with fantastic bodies and diets and lifestyles that play video games. Great. That's fantastic. So I don't put it into, hey, this is a fat guy thing. It's not, or a fat girl thing, whatever sex you are, it doesn't matter. But for me, it was just a way of experiencing things that I'd never be able to in real life. And the funny thing is, in some video games, I remember, like when you're this character, you have to find food and you have to exercise. It's just crazy how they simulate real life things. It's kind of wild if you think about it. But when it comes to my own life, I would never think about what I was putting in my body or the amount of exercise I was getting. I'd literally go out of my way to avoid that kind of stuff. And I just wanted to get back and play these games, sit in front of a screen and just be hypnotized for hours and hours at a time. I wouldn't even realize how long you're spending doing these things. And it's just an interest that I've had forever, just years and years. But as soon as I started focusing on fitness and nutrition, it's just gone. It was not an active decision at all. It was just, I don't know, magically put from the front of my mind to a very, very small thought on my back burner, if that, and it's so weird that it works like that. But I guess the point of this is my new sense of purpose. My most recent thing is definitely fitness. I started going to the gym. At first, of course, I just had my walks. I go on a walk every single day, walk 3 miles. But now that I've started going to the gym, there's just a whole new world of opportunity that I've found. And I think it's fantastic. There's always new things to learn there. There's new things to push myself and learn about it. And especially when you get into nutrition, that rabbit hole is deep. You can go down it and just get lost. And you can always learn more. You can always do more to educate yourself in fitness and nutrition. And it's so exciting learning these new things, and to me, that is every bit as entertaining as playing a video game nowadays. Go back 6 months and I would have a completely different opinion on it. I would much rather play a video game than focus on nutrition or read about different exercises I can do. And I don't know why it works that way. It just does, guys. But I think the goal now for myself is to, with this new purpose, this new drive, this new addiction that I have, I think it's more important to go out and have my own adventures and not just rely on the worlds that other people have built that I can use for entertainment. And I think that's the moral of the story is video games and TV especially, and movies, all of that kind of media. It is supposed to be entertainment. It is not supposed to run your life. It is not supposed to be an addiction, and I'm certainly guilty. I love watching Game of Thrones and House of Cards and playing video games and all that kind of stuff. But even the television, I haven't even caught up on all the shows out on Netflix like I used to. I used to stay up all night just catching up on all these seasons and just binge watching all this media, and I loved it. And I felt like crap. I really did, but I didn't realize how bad I felt until I changed that. Now, with getting up early and exercising every day and eating right, I have a hard time staying awake past 10 o'clock. If I'm up till 11, it's a freak thing. Okay, I'm like an old man. But I just work my body and eat right, and I don't know, I sleep so much more soundly than I used to. I get way more hours of sleep. I'm getting 7 or 8 hours a night, which I'm sure is ideal from what I've heard from the experts. But I just feel better. And my sense of purpose is to go and have my own adventures, go on hikes. I've been enjoying riding my bike around. I just want to push it farther. And I want to go to new places, now that I'm getting in shape. And I certainly have a long ways to go, guys. I'm not looking in the review mirror back when I was obese. Okay, I still am. But I've got a good start. And I cannot wait till I get to the point where I don't have to stress about getting on an airplane because I don't fit, or having pain because I'm going on a hike. I'd love to just go and play sports again. I'd love to go play basketball. I'd love to learn some new sports that I've never even thought about doing. And what a cool feeling that is, guys. There's a whole world out there, and get so wrapped up in media that we forget about that. We'd rather watch other people having adventures and not even go do them ourselves. And I guess that's the lesson that I have today, that as I've been talking, is Your sense of purpose is something that drives you. It's not just a form of entertainment that other people are giving you. Your purpose shouldn't be to watch a TV show. They're great entertainment, but don't make that your whole life, guys. There's so much out there to do. And I'm still working on breaking away from the television, but the best way to get to battle that addiction, go out and exercise. 100%. It works. I'm still relatively new to it, a couple months in, but the difference that it's made so far, I feel completely confident and comfortable telling you that if you try it, you'll get hooked. And what a better kind of addiction to have, so much more positive than to media. So anyway, guys, I know it's kind of a weird episode today. It's just something that was on my mind and I wanted to share it with you. So have a great week and we'll talk to you soon.